recording now. I want to like kind of preface this shit. For a couple weeks now, I've been getting some, you know, some notifications like from an event that was planned like weeks ago. Like, I don't feel like this event just came up. I feel like this event was planned for a couple of weeks now. And the event was basically a righteous retreat, quote unquote, which basically when I read, you know, what it was, it turned out to be some sort of musician roundtable, if you will, that involves a bunch of white folks going to a plantation about 70 miles away from New Orleans. And they had the nerve to call it a righteous retreat in the Big Easy. And I'm sitting here like, but bitch, you know what, as someone that lived in New Orleans, no tea, like, I mean, the transportation is good, but bitch, you trying to go 70 miles outside of New Orleans, that is not the Big Easy. I hate to tell you. That's the part of New Orleans that niggas ain't at. You feel me? That's not even part of New Orleans. You feel? Just stop calling it the Big Easy. These niggas is wildin'. But basically, you know, the whole gathering, get together was like egregiously expensive. It was a couple grand, you know what I mean? And that's like not even counting airfare. That's just to register your room in the fucking plantation. They got white people that was staying in the plantation, and they had white people staying in fucking the Best Western near the fucking plantation. So a lot of things were popping off. But basically, like, you know, from jump, you know, I remember I only seen this shit because my roommate at the time posted it and was like, you know, side-eye. But the thing is, like, that's where it started. It started from side-eye. You feel me? Everybody was like, why? Nobody was mad at jump. People were just like, what the fuck? Like, why? Like, people were really questioning why. People weren't really trying to, like, get all up in Annie's face and, like, start some beef. But I think it really started to spiral once, like, I want to say more white people got involved, as that's how shit is, like, as that is how privilege works. You feel me? We as in me and other black queers, and other non-black POC, we're turning the fuck up for weeks, bitch. I'm telling you, it took 2 white people to write a story. 2 white people wrote an article in the span of a fucking maybe 3 days, and that shit got canceled, and Annie was talking like a motherfucker. But it's just interesting that for weeks we was there just being like, what's the tea? Like, just trying to figure out what the fuck was going on. But then as soon as white people want to motherfucking, okay, start writing shit down, start recording it, start talking about screenshots, that's when Annie DeFranco want to motherfucking speak to somebody. Bitch, that is so terrible. And, like, again, you know, I hate when people are like, oh, I'm not a fan of Annie DeFranco. That don't make your opinion less valid. You feel me? And the only people that I sit here and side-eye are like these white folks that are trying to get these black folks together for feeling some type of way. It's like, whoa, like, you know, how insensitive are you? You know what I mean? You wouldn't tell people who are Jewish that was mad about an event being held at like some sort of really like fucked up ass place where perhaps people were buried of Jewish descent, or perhaps people were like killed. Like, plantations are a place where historically black folks, especially black women, were raped and beat and fucking treated poorly and inhumanely like animals. And it's not to say that there weren't black. It's not to say that black folks as a whole were not affected, but it's to say that these feminists, these white feminists, want to have a fucking feminist retreat, and they don't want to fucking think about who's implicated in this motherfucking retreat. It's like, I just can't even, like, I can't imagine, like, I've never even set myself up to imagine. I've lived in New Orleans for a long time. I just got back to the East Coast. But when I first moved there, I was like working at a job where I had to book people at plantation tours. I was doing that. And people would ask me dead ass. They would be like, how do you like the plantation tour? What's it like? Nigga, I don't know. I don't want to fucking know, nigga. I don't want to go there. I'm good. You know what I mean? But no, T, I was good with the swamp tour too. But honestly, like, more importantly, the plantation tour I was not trying to go on. Because, like, first, plantation tour. What does that even mean? I'm just walking around fucking plantation? What is there to tour? You know what I mean? Tragedy. You feel me? Like, that shit is fucking blow mind. So it's like, the idea that niggas want to go tour the shit blows my mind. The idea that y'all's having a function down there, bitch, I'm too dead. I'm too through. Like, I can't. And then Annie DeFranco gonna get her little homeboy to write some shit on the page that don't even make no sense. That was coming for all these folks. That was just like, again, folks was just like, why? Folks was just like, why are y'all doing this? Nobody was like, burn it down. Nobody was like, snatch this bitch's awards and accolades. Nobody was like, let's erase all of her activism. But that's all white people was talking about. All white people was saying was like, wow, you guys are gonna give her the benefit of the doubt despite all her work. Like, people was acting like people didn't want to acknowledge. That's the reason why people was coming, I think, to be real, and with such kid gloves on, because people was like, this is the activist. Why are you doing this shit? You feel me? People was really not coming like really hard. But when you know, when people were being silenced, when threads were getting deleted, people were gonna be mad, you know. No, I agree. There was no point. I'm dead. Somebody just said Annie's a dry white motherfucker. I'm dead. Look, you know what, sis? I'm just gonna say that this whole situation is just blow mind to me. But I don't know. I'm just like, I'm kind of just like, I wanted to come here because I wanted to read what Annie had to say, because I skimmed it and I didn't go all the way in, and I know I don't give a fuck about it because I started reading it, and then there was a part where I was just like, hold the fuck up, how long is this shit? And I kept scrolling, and I was like, bitch, you're missing it. You're writing this long-ass motherfucking editorial-ass piece when all you had to say was, I'm sorry. I was not thinking, because my shit is on white privilege mode. When you on white privilege mode, you can't understand why somebody black wouldn't want to go to a plantation, aka wouldn't feel safe at a motherfucking plantation, aka wouldn't motherfucking want to be at a plantation, period. I get that. I get why white people don't understand. But at the same motherfucking time, I don't get why people of color gotta come in droves, gotta go and tap their motherfucking white neighbor. Excuse me, Ashley, could you come on down to the page? Could you come on down to the page and talk to these white folks? That's literally what was happening. It was black folks getting their little white Dumbledore army of white folks, and just trying to get white folks to say something. And notice, once white people started writing interviews, started writing motherfucking, not even interviews, white folks didn't ask no people of color for their input. I want to note that too. All y'all white folks writing these articles, y'all didn't ask not one person of color about shit. Y'all niggas just motherfucking was talking about like the history of why it's fucked up, trying to give your white people some education, but you also didn't let any POC speak for why the fuck it was so insensitive. Y'all were giving out like bullet points. People could have told you like historical accounts. There was mad people on the fucking page who were going the fuck in, who were talking about how white privilege and how slavery has created a history for themselves personally, to where if they went to this place they would be triggered. I'm not gonna say all black folks ain't gonna be triggered at a plantation, but I'm gonna say it's a lot of black folks that was like, why are y'all having a function at the fucking plantation? Cause that is fucking wild thornberries. Shit didn't make no sense. And I'm just like, I'm trying to read this motherfucking Annie DeFranco apology, but I know it ain't about shit. First, I want to say the apology starts with, I have heard you, with a motherfucking semicolon. All who have voiced opposition to my conducting a writing and performing seminar at the Nottoway Plantation, I have decided to cancel the retreat. Now look, that first little box is followed by a big ass motherfucking monster box full of bullshit, talking about, you know, the main reason why I was in this plantation is because I wanted to be able to go home and sleep at my bed at night in New Orleans. No tea, bitch. You're 70 miles outside of the city at a faraway ass motherfucking plantation. No tea. I lived in New Orleans for a little while, bitch. There's mad function centers. All these queer events I be going to at the motherfucking community center. Get the fuck out of here. If y'all really want to have a real meaningful fucking experience, you know, in New Orleans, I honestly can't even tell y'all what y'all should do, because there's already too many white folks in New Orleans, like, doing wild shit, doing the most, you know what I mean? So it's like, I'm not even gonna try to speak as a transplant of New Orleans to tell y'all to go to New Orleans for any fucking thing, really. But, you know, moving forward, I'm just like, I'm dead that, like, part of your agenda, part of your needing for the venue to be in Louisiana, period, which is not the fucking problem. Ain't nobody mad that you had a fucking event in Louisiana. You feel me? She over here trying to tell us it was convenient. You know, convenient. It's not convenient. It's 70 motherfucking miles away from your fucking home, bitch, wherever the fuck you live. If you live in New Orleans, Nottoway Plantation is not nowhere near the motherfucking city, bitch. So no matter where the fuck you held it, if you have a radius, if you telling yourself, I'm willing to travel 70 motherfucking miles, you couldn't have done it in another fucking direction at anything other than a fucking plantation? Okay, boo. She goes on to say, I did not know the exact location that was to be held. I knew only that it would be, quote unquote, not too far outside of New Orleans, so that I could potentially come home to my own bed each night. And I knew that one of the days of the retreat was slated as a field trip wherein everyone will come to New Orleans together. Irrelevant, bitch. Irrelevant. We don't give a fuck about that part. That's irrelevant. Later, when I found out it was to be held at a resort on a former plantation, I thought to myself, whoa, but I did not imagine or understand that the setting of a plantation would trigger such collective outrage or result in so much high velocity bitterness. Fuck you, bitch. Fuck you, bitch. You, like, it don't make no sense. You sitting here, first of all, you clocking the wrong shit. You talking about, wow, gee whiz, I didn't know that when I booked this plantation, all these blackies were going to be mad. Wow, and I didn't think these blackies were going to have white people getting at me too. Wowzers. Wow, could have never predicted this. Like, bitch, that's not no apology. You basically telling us, damn, I didn't see this coming. What? Oops. Let me cancel this event. Boop, boop. And just like that, the motherfucking page was motherfucking gone, girl. Oh, I was too dead. I was like, bitch, how you gonna delete the whole fucking event page where everything blew up and you just now start talking to everybody? Oh, Annie, you got me so tight, bitch, because, like, this is the shenanigans. And this ain't even everything. This ain't even everything. The thing that got me chopped is we had motherfucking virtual blackface. We had some fake ass white bitch not only pretend to be motherfucking Amanda Seyfried from fucking Mean Girls and from fucking Jennifer's Body, bitch. Yes, we had a bitch pretending to be a fucking celebrity who was actually a racist. And then tried to talk about she was a black lady named motherfucking Laquita Jones. And then going to use broken English and African American vernacular English poorly as fuck to not only try and get black folks and collect them and try to tell them about themselves, but to apologize for whiteness. And niggas got caught right away. But I'm just like, what was all this for, Annie? What was all this for? Like, I just don't get the point. I don't get the point of all this. You had like mad people on that page telling you about your fucking self, telling you about their motherfucking struggles, and you just gonna delete that motherfucking page, bitch? Ciao. I know. Angel farting, I love you. Bitch. You feel me? You feel me? Shakira Monet. They could have had it at a McDonald's. You know white folks will go to a motherfucking McDonald's. No tea. Let me tell you about the McDonald's. And like, I used to live in this nice area. And I went to the McDonald's over there. Bitch, they would have white folks inside of there with flat screen TVs watching the game and shit. Just chilling and shit. Like it's their living room. But no tea. When I was at the McDonald's in the ghetto, they had a sign that said no loitering past 30 minutes. And they used to have a fucking TV. But people really would just chill in there and watch the TV. So they dead ass took the TV away. Real talk. Real talk. So it's like, you know what? Interesting to me. Interesting to me. You know, white folks, y'all could just be at the McDonald's just chilling, having your little motherfucking baseball game, Cracker Jacks and peanuts and stuff. And then black folks, when they go to McDonald's, you better get in and get out, bitch. Get your motherfucking burger and be gone. But white folks can just sit there and lounge back with a motherfucking flat screen plasma. Shit kills me, yo. Even McDonald's in the ghetto is fucked up. You feel me? Damn. Man. Damn. But that's, you know what? That's a larger motherfucking issue. But yes, exactly. Sabrina Hairston, I'm dead because I'm dead, Sabrina, because she said she agreed to the retreat because she didn't know where it was at. Yeah, that don't make no fucking sense, bitch. Come on, wig, okay? Because I'm just not getting it. All right, this bitch sound like Kim Zolciak. All right, in her last motherfucking appearance at the reunion. What are you really saying, queen? But whatever. Let's keep going on. Okay, now let's get into this. Tragedy. No. Hold on. Before I get there. I imagined instead that the setting would become a participant in the event. Now, bitch, this is a singing and songwriting motherfucking retreat. This is where y'all are supposed to be getting some inspiration and you giving away free guitars and shit. And then you just gonna involve the motherfucking plantation? Like, bitch, what rhymes with plantation? What rhymes and jams and soul rhythms are y'all trying to get at a motherfucking plantation? Like, I'm blown mind. This bitch really just said, I thought niggas would come to the plantation and want to write about the motherfucking plantation and sing songs about it. Bitch, nobody ever. I'm just like, I'm breathless. Like, I can't even, like, I don't even know how you even really think of this. Like, what a harebrained scheme, bitch. Like, back to the drawing boards you go. Because I don't know how the fuck you could ever think in your real life. Your real fucking life. You wake up, brush your fucking teeth, and this is what the fuck it is. You over here have a fucking, oh man. I wish I would go to a fucking plantation talking about writing some lyrics about the plantation, writing about the motherfucking slave quarters and the cornbread that was too dry because vegans were serving it. Child bye. Look, no shade to vegans. No shade to vegans. Let me just say that, because I've had some very good vegan food, and not all vegans. I don't want to oppress y'all. I don't want to oppress the fuck out of y'all, because you know what? I think I was more so talking about white veganism, like that. Oh, you know, like, yes, you know, I only eat quinoa. Like, okay, bitch. All right, you know what I mean? And obviously, you know, we can go into, like, the ramifications of the over-fucking use of quinoa, the over-commodification of quinoa in terms of indigenous folks abroad. But when I talk about, like, white veganism, I'm talking about, like, this idea that, like, whatever the fuck you made is like, so it's like, it's cruelty free. Like, white vegans love to talk about how their food is cruelty free, but they don't like to acknowledge the black and brown folks that are like implicated in like the motherfucking food trade, bitch. Like, let me tell you. But like, look, you need to get that on your own, bitch. We talking about motherfucking Annie DeFranco right now, bitch. Sorry. Intersectionality, bitch. You gotta be talking about it all. It's all there. Anyways, so I welcome, so I imagine a dialogue would emerge organically over the 4 days about the issue of where we were. I had heard the feedback that it is not my place to go to former plantations and initiate such a dialogue, period. But bitch, like, the fact that, like, you don't address that. The fact that we got to go to a whole new motherfucking paragraph to get into whether or not you believe it's your place. Talk about something, I've heard the feedback. You don't believe as a white lady, it's not your place to be bringing a bunch of folks, especially mad white privileged ass folks, to a space where black folks is gonna be seriously outnumbered unless you got a lot of help. And even still, that does not help with the mindset of someone going to a motherfucking plantation. You know what I mean? again, I'm not at a point in my activism, or rather in my fucking black adult life, in my blackness, to where I could go to a plantation and I'd be okay. Like, that's just not going to be what it is. You know what I mean? Like, I've been in a lot of racist situations that I really didn't understand were racist. And now that I understand racism on a level that's like this casual racism that people talk about, which is just regular racism, it's just like, it goes unchallenged because we live in a culture of silencing. So whatever the fuck you think casual racism is, it just means that like you're noting that you're not going to speak up about it. You know what I mean? That's you acknowledging that like you're being silenced, or that you are being silent. You know what I mean? And again, I'm talking to everybody, because everybody don't have the same safety to where they could talk freely about how shit is racist, or how shit is fucked up, or how shit is like obviously like white supremacy. We can't all be free and talk about it. In some ways, I've suffered from talking about white supremacy. Like, people have like left my life, and I'm not gonna say that was not a good thing that these people left my life. I'm just gonna say it was shocking to me that like me talking about myself, or me talking about oppression that I really do face as a black queer person, that shit is like, you know, that shit is grounds for someone to like really not want to fucks with me no more. That really hurts, and that can really be hard. But I feel like, again, there are other situations where people can't really talk because, you know, other extreme situations will happen more so than someone just like disengaging with a friendship or walking out of your life. Kumbaya. I'm dead. Exactly. I'm dead. He said the plantation is a participant. How the plantation gonna write songs and sing? Exactly. I agree with you, Shakira. Why didn't she go to the woods? There are cabins and stuff. Hella people get inspiration there all the time, but you want to go to a plantation where blood and tears were. That's real. White guilt and white tears rhymes with plantation. I'm dead. Quinoa ass bitches. Okay, so she says she don't know where it is, but actually it's gonna be part of the retreat. Right, exactly. She said she didn't know where the fucking plantation was. When she found out where it was, she decided that it was going to be part of the fucking experience. Which is weird. That's weird. But yo, look, she wrote this long ass shit, and all these white people is licking her damn fucking animal cruelty free boots. You know what I mean? Her fucking burlap sack monster stompers, like whatever the fuck she got on her feet right now. You know, them damn toe socks made out of fucking tweed or some shit. I don't know. But like, that shit got me so dead, because I'm just like, how you gonna say you? Too many questions, bitch. Hold on, let me read. White person glorifying a plantation. Right? White people gotta write songs though, right? Exactly. Hold on, I'm sorry, I'm trying to read. Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm not really understanding. I'm trying to like go back and just like double check to make sure I read that correctly. Cause it said, yeah, she did say that. She said, when I agreed to do a retreat with a promoter who has organized such things before, and with other artists, and who approached me about being the next curator slash host slash teacher, I did not know the exact location it was to be held, saying I knew only that it would be not too far outside of New Orleans so I could go back to my fucking house at night. But later, when I found out it was to be held at a resort on a former plantation, bitch, it's not a resort. Like, that's the thing. Like, if it was a resort, it would have been a fucking resort. You don't turn a plantation into a resort. It's still a plantation. You know what I mean? When you read about the history, it's a fucking plantation. You feel me? You don't think the plantation owners had guests? Had niggas that stayed? Well, they didn't have niggas that stayed by, but they had some white. You didn't think they had white folks come by and stay in the house and get their little hospitality on? Bitch, you know what I mean? Like this is not a resort, queen. It's not. Let's see. I thought to myself, whoa, but I did not imagine or understand that the setting of a plantation would trigger such collective outrage. You didn't imagine or understand that a setting of a plantation. Wow. This was doubtless to be a gathering of progressive and engaged people, so I imagined a dialogue would emerge organically over the 4 days about the issue of where we were. You see, white folks was like, You know, other white folks were gonna know that we were at a plantation. We're gonna talk about it. You think we're just gonna be at a plantation and not talk about how we're at a plantation? We're gonna talk about it organically. Like, it's just gonna come up. You know what I mean? I was like, it said plantation. Bitch, you didn't find out organically. Somebody told you, and you thought, whoa. If you thought, whoa, what did you think other people would think? You were like, you know what I mean? That's part of privilege right there. You, a white privileged ass lady, you said whoa. You said whoa. My intention of going ahead with the conference at the Nottoway Plantation was not to be part of a great forgetting, but its opposites. I know that pain is stored in places where great social ills have occurred. I believe that people must go to those places with awareness and with compassionate energy and meditate on what has happened and absorb some of the reverberating pain with their attention and their awareness. This is some white people shit. Would you tell somebody to go to Auschwitz and would you tell a Jewish person that they should go to Auschwitz and and feel the reverberating pain of the Holocaust? Would you tell somebody that shit? You know what I mean? And this is why I didn't read no further. This is about as far as I got. Yo, my phone needed to chill. This is as far as I got, truly, because, like, it really goes on for a lot more paragraphs, and I'm going to send the link in the bottom of the description bar below. I realize if you're with me on Ustream right now, you can get this shit right now. I'm going to send that out to y'all right now. Yeah. I'm dead. Love to love. I'm dead. You said, what is the lesson today? Hey, hun bun. Basically, we're just talking about Miss Annie DeFranco because this bitch done lost the lunch, child. I don't know what homie was thinking. I don't know what homie was thinking. So I sent you guys the Facebook of Annie DeFranco. That is right now in the chat, and I'm also putting it in the social stream, y'all. And that's gonna go out to Facebook and also Twitter. But if you're on YouTube, it's gonna be right in the description bar below. Exactly. This whole thing is very confusing, y'all. This whole thing is very extremely confusing. Yeah. Yeah. And again, you brought up a really important part, Angel Farting. She said she said she wanted people to absorb the pain of slavery within the walls of the plantation. But the majority of the people that are going are white. So what the fuck are they really absorbing? You know what I mean? Fake feels? You know what I mean? I don't know, dude. I don't know, dude. This whole shit is fucking romper room. Okay? This shit is motherfucking... Woo! I just can't even. And that, you know what? I laugh a lot, because, like, what else could I do? Oh, P.S. One of the things that we found out, you know, before people was popping off, you know, one of the white folks, hit me up. This white lady, she hit me up and she was like, listen, she's like, I'm about to do an expose on this. She was like, I would love some feedback. And I was like, okay, word. But, like, really, I wasn't here to be giving nobody no fucking feedback. Like, I'm just trying to figure out what's going on with this situation. Because, no tea, you know what, again, I can't afford the event. I don't want to go to the event. But God forbid there's, like, a black queer person out there that want to go to a fucking Annie DeFranco fucking concert. And I'm not standing up for them and for their fucking right to be in a place that's not fucking trauma-filled. You know, there's a lot of layers to this shit, but it's all fucked up layers, and like it just really bothers me that like a lot of people were throwing in technicalities and shit. But again, one of the things I found out was that a lot of the money from the plantation goes to, I believe, the 13th richest man in Australia, who gives a lot of money to anti-queer and anti-women legislation. So I thought that was really interesting, considering, again, you know, the population of queers that are like suffering the most are, again, POC and black queers. Okay, like we're experiencing some really fucked up things out here, especially as a result of homophobia, which is really just femphobia and trans antagonism as well. So it's like, you know, it's just interesting to me that like Annie DeFranco stands for so much to all these like white feminists, and they're all talking about how radical and righteous they are and shit, but it's like, whoa, it's like, oh, y'all are really fucked up, because not only are you trying to get people to go to a plantation, you don't, like, she makes a nod. She understands that it's fucked up because she says later in the apology, as to the matter of the current owner of the resort and his political leanings, calling the shit a resort now, that was brought to my attention yesterday, and it does disturb me. But it also begs further questions. Who are all the owners of all the venues I or any other musician play? The performing arts centers, the theaters, the nightclubs? I bet there are a lot of rich white dudes with conservative political leanings on the list. Is it possible to separate the positive from the negative people in this world? Will those lines be clear and discernible with enough research? Is it my job to do this for every gig? Is it possible to ensure that no bad person will ever profit in any way from my existence or my work? Again, maybe we should indeed have drawn a line in this case and said Nottoway Plantation is not a good place to go. Maybe we should have vetted the place more thoroughly. But should hatred be spit at me over that mistake? Again, nobody hates you. Nobody was hating you. People were just like, why? Annie, DeFranco, as someone who is a self-proclaimed feminist, why is it that, again, we learn as black folks, especially black women, that praxis, at least in your mind, falls within only white women's solidarity? And black women don't deserve to be heard until we get a bunch of other fucking white people to fucking say what the fuck we've been saying. It's just like blow mind that like white people could say something for 5 minutes. For 5 fucking minutes. And we was talking for days, weeks. 5 minutes white people spoke up. Fucked up, yo. But that whole last paragraph that she was talking about, you know, what about all the venues? Bitch, fuck out of here. You know what I mean? That's so grimy. You're like, we coming together, we trying to talk to you about some shit. You try to pussy pop and backpedal, trying to talk about some other venues. It's not about the other venues. You feel me? Like, that's, it's just like, it's, It's like, damn, in moments like this, I'm like, where's Jon Stewart? Get your people. Let me see. All right. Then she says, I do not wish to reinvent the righteous retreat at this point to eliminate the stay at the Nottoway Plantation. At this point, I wish only to cancel. I ask only that as we attempt to continue to confront our country's history together, let us not forget that the history of slavery and exploitation is at the foundation of much of our infrastructure in this country, not just at old plantation sites. Let us not oversimplify to black and white a society that contains many, many shades of gray. Let us not forget to be compassionate towards each other as we attempt to move forward and write the next pages in our history. Our story is not over, and citizens of the internet, it is now ours to write. You see, and this comes from somebody who deleted a page full of hundreds of black women talking. Hundreds. People were going in. Don't get me wrong, there were a lot of fucking fuck shit happening on that page again. But a lot of people were going in and talking. It was radical as fuck. I appreciate y'all for being there. All of y'all who are in the group right now who are talking in the Ustream. I appreciate y'all. I wanted to say that because, like, you know, we get all caught up in this shit. We try to go in. We don't really, you know, talk about what the fuck we did. You know what I mean? Look at us. You know what I mean? Granted, white folks did come in and did try, you know what I mean? But the thing is, to be real with you, when people say that they're allies and they really do some shit, it's kind of like, cool. You know what I mean? Tanks. But there were a lot of people in the group talking about they was allies, and I want to say again for all y'all people out there who think you're allies, allies is not a title you could just pull out of a bag. Allies is praxis. What the fuck are you doing? You know what I mean? Ally is not a title. It's what you're doing. Are you an ally? Ally is action. It's direct action, like a motherfucker. So if you're not really if you're not about that life, you're not really about intervening and standing up and using your privilege for positives in underprivileged or non-privileged people's lives, then, you know, what the fuck are you doing? You know what I mean? I don't want your agency if it really ain't for me. You know what I mean? Like let's be real here. And I think that's like another thing. If you call yourself an ally, it's about practice. It's about what you're doing. You know, and if you're not a part of this group, all you can be is a practicing fucking ally. You can't be an ally in name only that don't help nobody, that don't do shit. And it's about doing shit. You know what I mean? That's part of the activity of the movement, is fucking doing something. And doing don't always mean physical, or rather, it don't always look physical. There's a lot of things online that like allies are contributing to, and I want to say that there were allies in this, and it was positive, and they're not getting fucking individual cookies because they know who the fuck they are, and that's good enough. They're part of this moment with us, but in different ways. And this is important. But it's also important to note that, like, you know, obviously we're not done. Obviously we got a lot of fucking shit going on. Obviously we have so much to work on and move forward from. But I just like, I really want to hear people's thoughts about this Annie DeFranco thing. I heard a lot of people on the thread saying positive things about this apology, and it was not an apology, y'all. So like, I just want to say, like, how do we move forward from this? Like, what do we talk about in the coming days, in the coming weeks? You know what I mean? They're not doing this program anymore, and honestly, I don't think anyone gives a fuck other than the people that probably already paid their little thousands of coins. But also, don't you find that interesting that like people could like have it like that their event was canceled like literally like 20 minutes ago, and like the fucking page for the event was deleted just that quickly without any notice to like the people who were like actually like going to the shit? Because granted, I know the people that were going to the shit left the page and created a private page, but at the same time, you know, what about them? If they're in a private page, did Annie ever talk to them? You know what I mean? Not that I give a fuck about those people that were willing to spend money to go to a racist ass fucking event. But I think that that's interesting from like a standpoint of someone who's just trying to be a little business person, trying to get their little waves popping. I'm like, what about those folks? You know, I would be very fucking surprised if I was supposed to be going to a motherfucking event and this shit was canceled, and within 10 minutes the damn shit is motherfucking 404 warning, bitch. Shit is gone. So I don't know. I'm going back to the chat though. Exactly. The fact that white people even go there to have weddings or any kind of event at plantations just says a lot. That's true. That also kills me that they were talking about the history of slavery and how it's everywhere, and how like there aren't significant markers of slavery. You know what I mean? It's like I went like this time in New Orleans, I went and visited a friend who lived in the slave quarters, and like I didn't know that until like we were talking at a conversation. We were talking about racism and white supremacy, and they said like how they feel like a slave when they're in the house that they're in, and I was like, why? Like, because this is a slave quarters, and they're like, yeah. And I looked around, and I was like, okay, but like this, like I mean, we were having a conversation about classism though, and this nigga was trying me, but while slave quarters is a part of the history of New Orleans, it's a completely different thing. It's like slave quarters in like no shade, this nigga lived on fucking Dauphine. If you lived in fucking New Orleans, this nigga was in the nice part of Dauphine trying to tell me it was the hood. He lived like right between the Marigny and like the quarter. Like he lived right before the quarter on Dauphine, and was living real nice, real large, real fucking platinum, and was trying to tell me some shit like, oh, I live in the slave quarters on Dauphine. I'm like, yeah, but you still, like, nigga, what is your rent? You know what I mean? Like, damn, this place is little and cute. You know what I mean? You probably paying like $400 a month, and I'm not trying to say that like that doesn't, like, I'm not saying that place don't hold triggers or historical trauma. I'm just saying that ain't no fucking plantation, B. You feel me? Fuck, like, I mean, like, I don't have no apples or oranges to compare to. It's not a plantation. You know what I mean? That, like, all these people talk about something. I've been living in New Orleans, and keep in mind, all these people talk about they live in New Orleans, myself included. Transplants. People are not from New Orleans. You don't have the historical trauma of being in New Orleans when shit was popping off, but they want to tell you about how normalized slave quarters and shit is. Fuck out of here. To be real with you, to be super real with you, the people that's living in slave quarters right now are largely motherfucking transplants. You know what I mean? The people that are in New Orleans right now, you'll be hard pressed a lot of times to find people from New Orleans. You know, every time I go, I meet a lot of people from New Orleans, but that's because of where I'm staying. But also, I meet a lot of motherfucking transplants, bitch. Let me stop for my turn and fall off. I met so many. I'm sorry. My back is killing me. I gotta sit back for a second. Actually, I'm gonna sit back. I'm gonna read. I'm gonna read. Okay. Okay, I was talking about Annie DeFranco, y'all. We did touch on the white girl that created the fake FB page, talking about Laquita and shit. We did talk about her. You ain't lying. Exactly. It was an apology because she got called out. Love Dove 107. You know what? Life is full of learning. I learned so much shit too. Listen, like I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm gonna share something with y'all. I have a friend in New Orleans, and let me tell you, we used to talk and get church in the mornings together. It used to be everything, and I miss my friends so much, and it means everything to me to be able to come here and talk to people who not only have like their policies on point, but also people who don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Because you know what, I didn't know what the fuck was going on either. Like it's not like I know all these words, and now I'm up here and you're down there, and la 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 la. That's not even how the fuck shit is supposed to be. You know what I mean? And I want to be checked. If people think I'm being elitist, or people, you know, feel like I'm coming from a fucked up place, or like my tone is fucked up, although, you know, tone police is not going to be tolerated, I can understand someone feeling like, damn, you know, I don't know. Because, like, I can be very blunt. I can be very, like, rough. I can be cold. I can be callous. I have the capacity to have a lot of different modes, but I'm never trying to come off like I know more than anybody, especially when this shit takes education. It takes somebody nurturing you in some ways, you know, and I've been very blessed in that people have been nurturing me. So I try to come here and give and nurture somebody else, give somebody something that somebody gave to me, because like that's how it's supposed to be. We don't all know everything, but we gotta give up something when we know something. You know what I mean? Give somebody something. Exactly. People be calling themselves allies, talking about I have 3 black friends. Okay. Okay. Somebody said, they think Disney is slavery. You know, I think, like, honestly, like, show business with young children is a form of slavery, but I think it's more of, like, this bourgeoisie shit, you know what I mean? It's like the kids that, like, we're not supposed to feel sorry for because they have coins, quote unquote, but they're not exactly like in need, but they are, you know what I mean? Like your financial standing doesn't really dictate how much assistance you need. Exactly, Nappy Gal Beast Mode. I agree. Yeah, I don't want to say that I think Disney is a monopoly. I think Disney definitely has a hold on a lot of things. Like, if you think about Disney is like the main nigga teaching kids or talking to kids, or when people leave the TV on, that's the main motherfucker that's got the handle on it. Those people at Disney, those people at Nickelodeon, those people, Cartoon Network and shit like that. And I'm not trying to say that, like, your mind is 100% in the hands of TV, but I think, like, we could all recount, like, our childhood and, like, shows that we watched, TV shows that we seen, cartoons that we seen, and we could look back at it today and be like, holy fuck, that was wild. Some of the shit that we might have not internalized, you know, thank God. But some of the shit other niggas did internalize. Other people did internalize fucked up shit from these fucking shows out here. Pause. No, I agree. Like, I think, like, sometimes we use the word slave, like, I don't want to say too loosely, but I think that we have to be real about what we're calling slavery. And I think that, like, Disney stars, I think that, you know, definitely, true. That's true. I do agree, but I think, like, that's a level of slavery that's more dependent on, like, that person's parent, that person's upbringing. You know what I mean? Like 9 times out of 10, if you're a child star, your parents like are making you do this shit. Like there's not like I know that there's child actors and actors, there's child like stars that like want to be stars, but there's a lot of them that don't. There's a lot of them that no, I understand that you said it was a form of slavery, but I think like I don't know. I feel like to bring that into the topic is kind of left because I feel like. I think children are exploited in a lot of ways. I think like if you want to talk about exploited children, I think we could start at like a lower level that like is more understandable. I think like in terms of like Instagram, you know what I mean? People having their kids and putting their kids on Instagram, and it seems like that's the only life the kid has. It's like dressing very nicely and like being taken a picture of in like some good sunlight or whatever. Like that shit, I feel like in some ways it perpetuates like this cycle of abuse that's really scary to me because I think that in some ways, yeah, I would say exploitation, I would say abuse, I wouldn't say it's slavery. Yeah, see, and that's the thing. Like, if these kids were slaves in the way that like we are taking slavery, you know what I mean? They wouldn't be able to like fucking just go meet up with these other stars and shit. And again, I'm not trying to sit here and act like the music industry, TV industry ain't fucked up, because I think we all seen the TLC VH1 biopic or whatever the fuck. You know, the world is real. You know what I mean? The world do be real out here and do be snatching people's fucking shit for real. But I do appreciate you bringing up Disney stars because I feel like it's interesting how like they go from like having a little show to being like hypersexualized and typically very fucking appropriative culturally speaking, and just like doing like perpetuating a lot of racist ass shit. Oh, peace. Thank you so much, Angel Farting. Take care, yo. True. I do understand where you guys are coming from. We under the whip. Yeah, no, and that's the thing. Like the media is definitely a big part of slavery. I think like one of the things I try to like note is like you know, on Spotify when you're listening to music, it won't let you turn down the volume. Like when it's volume. They won't let you turn on the volume when you're listening to ads. Like you have to just listen to an ad and like ingest that shit. And there's no way to have an ad pass so you can listen to music until you listen to the ad. You can't pause. You can't like pause and go to the next. You can't mute it. You can't turn down your shit real low. The lowest my computer will turn it down to is like a 3. And then it's like, if it goes between it below a 3, the ad will straight up just pause and be like, no, bitch, you won't hear me today. So, I think, I need to watch the Josie and the Pussycats movie. I've been meaning to watch that shit. True. But I think that that's like all stars. I think like the idea that like you have to transform, I think that's also like some gender shit too. Don't you agree? Like in terms of like what, like when a young girl turns into a woman and like a young boy turns into a man, it's like these identities that are very much like hardwired in like these rigorous like lines. So it's kind of like anything outside of that, and it's like we wonder why like young like black women don't feel beautiful or don't feel attractive because people are constantly like turning into like white ladies. And not to say that like white ladies are any like I didn't want to say that in terms of like white ladies overall. I want to say that like the idea of a woman growing up typically means that like their makeup becomes extremely like Eurocentric, and like we're dealing with like the contouring, and we're dealing with the long silky hair, or rather we're dealing with like hair that is reminiscent of like European folks. And if that's like if like girlhood is seen as delicate and beautiful, whatever, and then womanhood is seen as like fierce, but like still, you know, still delicate, but still tough, and all this stuff, and we're totally shown these ideas of what women are, like beautiful women. You know what I mean? The idea like that a woman is white. You know what I mean? The idea that like when we talk about like when we draw pictures of cartoons, when we look at, you know, even The Simpsons. The Simpsons was white. You know what I mean? Because notice when somebody was black in The Simpsons, they was black or brown. Everybody else was yellow. You feel me? Would people have watched The Simpsons if it was just a bunch of white blobs? You know what I mean? You know, like think about it, yo. All the people in The Simpsons was yellow except for the brown folks and the black folks. You know, and I think that nigga Sideshow Bob. I think Sideshow Bob I think Sideshow Bob was yellow too. But isn't that wild? You know what I mean? Would you have watched the motherfucking Simpsons? You feel me? Exactly. And hold on, I'm trying to read. It's true, the volumes do be going up. Word. Was there even black people, really? Cromweezy, my face is not clear, bitch. I don't even know what you see. Like, it is not clear. It is not clear at all. I have no makeup on. Except for I did fill in my eyebrows. Let me not lie. That's the only makeup I have on now. That nigga Apu was brown. That's what I'm saying though. They only had black and brown folks that was being black and brown. But everybody else was motherfucking yellow, but they was all really white. Exactly, people doing fan art for the Lion King. Like, why the fuck would the people in the Lion King be white? Word, well, it's dry too. I'm dead. I'm shout out to my face for not being ashy today. You got an ashy face. That's sad to me, yo, to think about my face being ashy, because that means, oh, so dry. I don't know, y'all. Like, I'm at a point where, exactly, it was like 3 POC in The Simpsons, you feel me? I'm dead, you said Marge was mixed. Marge did not have an afro. Yo, tell me why. One day I was in New Orleans and I had my afro, and there was this white lady who walked past me, and like her hair, it looked so bad. Like it looked like she just hadn't brushed or combed it, and it was just like swelling. Like it just looked like it was just swelling. Like it, but not swelling in a good way. Like it was swelling like a bouffant, kind of like a Ludwig. Like a Ludwig, you know what I mean? And the shit just like, it looked stringy in the front, but boofy in the back, like just boofy. And she was like, I love your hair. And she was like, and I was wearing my beautiful afro wig at the time. She's like, I love your hair. She's like, one day I hope my hair can be as nice as yours. And I was like, you're going to have to keep wishing for that. And I was with my homie who was like this dark-skinned dude, and he was laughing at this bitch. And I was like, keep wishing, boo. Just keep on wishing. She's like, I will. And I didn't want to be mean to her, but I wanted to be like, you'll never have this type of hair, bitch. You never will. You know what I mean? It's not in the cards for you. But I will tell you this. I had a white friend who got a perm because she was trying to have curly hair, bitch. It ruined her damn shit. Her shit was looking a mess. I don't know what the fuck they do to white people's hair when they perm it, but they told her to brush it out every day, and she just forgot. And she said that one day, she said she tried to brush it, and a comb broke in it. Like, just broke and cracked up and stuff. I'm dead. See, that's the thing. Like, y'all over here talking about Marge was mixed and her sisters. Y'all are silly as fuck. I'm dead. I'm dead I even brought it up. I don't know. I'm ready to get the fuck out of here, though. As I said before, I wanted to ask y'all opinions on on this Annie DeFranco shit. What do y'all feel? Do you think the apology was real? Do you think it was whack? Just let me know. You know, feel free to do a response video too. You know, I want to see the faces of people that subbed to me and that actually watch the videos. That'd be fucking cool. I will watch the video, bitch. So, take care. Bye.